Hello everyone, my name is David Thompson. I am a registered nurse. I recently passed my NCLEX RN exam. I wanted to do a review and a demonstration of a mobile app called NCLEX Questions. I use this mobile app to prepare for my NCLEX exam. I just wanted to give you my thoughts about it and see if it could be any help to you. So the NCLEX Questions mobile app is developed by a company called NCLEX Preceptor. You can go to their website. It is www.nclexpreceptor.com, and on their homepage you will see a link for their mobile questions application. There is a link for an Android app and also an Apple app. My review will be on the Android app and I will be using my tablet. So once you install the application, the first screen that you'll get to, it asks you to actually type in your first name. And it has this nice little customized feature because it will refer to me later on in the application, which I will show you. Every time that you log in, it does ask you to type in your name. So I'll click on this Remember Me button and it will remember my name. So there's a couple study options for this mobile app. There is a flashcard study mode and then also a practice test study mode. This mobile app has two types of practice tests. The first one I want to talk about is the NCLEX test. Now with the NCLEX test, this is really nice because it gives you random questions from all of the different categories that you would actually find on the real NCLEX exam. And just like the NCLEX exam, some categories are weighted more than others. So this app does very similar to the actual exam and gives you those questions that you will actually most likely find on the exam. Now the NCLEX test is part of the in-app purchase, so you do have to purchase the app to utilize this type of practice test. The other practice test that you have is the customized test. And with the customized test, you can actually choose the different categories that you want your questions to come from. And this is really nice because once you start using the reports, you can actually see the areas that you're strong in and also the areas where you need improvement. So the areas that you need improvement, you can actually just test in those areas to bring up your score. So here you will see that you have all of the different categories that you can choose from, and the categories are very similar to the categories that you will find on the real NCLEX exam. I am going to choose the free sample NCLEX questions because the other categories are actually part of the paid application. So here in this practice test is a sample of a multiple choice question. I like the way that they word these multiple choice questions. They're worded very similar to what you would find on NCLEX. Also, you have very challenging questions, so the questions do require a lot of critical thinking. And once you actually select an answer, the button at the bottom of the screen will say answer, and when you click on it, it actually gives you the answer to the question and also the rationale of why that answer is correct. Now, in order to pass NCLEX, it is important that you don't just learn facts. You really need to know the rationales of the answers and the topics that you will find on the NCLEX exam. Now the flashcards are set up very similar to the multiple choice questions where you can actually choose the different categories where you want your flashcards to come from. And just like before, I'm going to choose the free sample NCLEX questions because the actual NCLEX categories are part of the in-app purchase. Now the study flashcards are really nice because they ask some open-ended questions. For example, this one says, what is the normal value for magnesium? It gives you an opportunity to think about what that actual answer is. And then when you click on the button at the bottom where it says answer, it actually tells you the answer with the rationale. One of my favorite features of this mobile app are the NCLEX alerts. I like how it actually calls me out by name to let me know that this information is important. Now, what I have found in the NCLEX alerts, you will find information as far as how to study for the NCLEX exam. It also gives you some test taking tips, and it also tells you some of the commonly tested topics that you will find on the NCLEX exam. So this mobile app does a really good job of identifying important nursing interventions as well as collaborative patient care. So you'll see here, for example, it does use my name to call out that this is important, and it tells me some of the collaborative care for patients that have certain nursing diagnoses, such as ineffective health maintenance. And this is really helpful because I did notice this on the NCLEX exam. Now, one of the things that I think that this app can improve on are the quality of the images. So I've noticed that my images are a little bit blurry as far as the nurse characters, but the quality of the content is really good. I really like the report feature. Now, the report feature will just give me a report of the current session. So every time I log out, it does reset, but it does identify the categories that I do well in and also the categories that I need to spend more time in. So this really helped me when I was studying because I knew what areas I need to focus more on and the areas that I pretty much had a good understanding of. So let's talk about the pros and cons of this mobile app. And let's talk about the cons. Well, one thing is it does require internet access. So when you first install the app, it does take a long time because it is pulling a lot of questions from its internet database. And once you actually get into the app, like I discussed before, I noticed that the quality of the nurse characters are pretty low. So I do hope in future upgrades that they do make those images higher quality. Now, as always, there are limited free questions, so you do have to actually pay for the app if you want to unlock all of the questions. Now, in regards to the pros, there's a lot more of them than the cons. One thing that I really do like is there are numerous NCLEX questions. I mean, there are a lot of NCLEX questions, and they update these questions regularly. The app is very stable, so once you actually install it, it does run very smoothly, and I have installed it on both an Android tablet and also my iPad, and I hadn't had any problems. If you look on the Google Play Store and also the iTunes stores, there are many positive reviews, so that is good that there are other nursing students out there that are using it and having a good experience with it. It does have current NCLEX content, which I think is really helpful when you're taking the test. One of my favorite things that I mentioned before are the NCLEX alerts, so I know exactly what I need to focus on as far as with my studying. It has a lot of NCLEX tips on medications and labs, and this is really nice because there's a lot of medications that we learn in nursing school, and this app does a really good job on highlighting the ones that you will most likely find on the NCLEX exam. So overall, I think it is an excellent value for the price of the mobile app. So overall, I give this app 4.5 stars out of 5. I think it is a pretty good app to study for NCLEX. I used it and I passed NCLEX with just 75 questions. I am sure the thousands of hours in class, studying, and clinicals also played a factor. Just a word of encouragement to other nurses. Nursing school is hard. It is doable. Hang in there, stick with it, and with proper studying, you will pass NCLEX as well.